we ever really ready? Are we ready? You ready? Justin, want you?
Dear world, you name it, we cover it from the world of the singles to the behind the scenes of the greatest movie ever filmed, called Marriage. We dig into everything from dating 101. Why won't they commit? It's complicated. I can't do it if it's the three of us. They're a good person, but I'm not attracted to them in that way, too. They really didn't disclose who they were before I said I do. How do I do this if they can't keep a job? The bills are paid, but the bedroom is suffering. Did I marry you or did I marry your family? Because we can only take care of us. Let's open up our marriage. Why do I have to buy into your beard gang illusion? You could have told me you were on the down low and we could have remained friends and not married. And last but not least, did you marry me or your pastor? Have we gotten your attention yet? If so, tune into Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio.
All right. What's wrong?
Nothing.
Why your face all look like they got bad news?
Abruptly, I thought you was gonna let it play to the end. It kind of ended on a.
Yeah, well, it said the radio station. That's all I need to get to the radio station. You know.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. Stay tuned to our upgraded intro coming soon. But anyway, greetings everyone, and welcome to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. I'm your host, Charles Dixon, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Adam Ford. How are you, sir? All right.
What's up, family? Doing okay for Thursday afternoon. Not too bad.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, it's starting to get a little warmer out. Although this Texas weather been a whole lot of like tornado warnings and all this kind of stuff. It'll be hot, then the tornado warning is hot. So yeah. Right. Anyway, yeah, man. Everything's been, I guess, everything. Just keeping copacetic, maintaining. You know, trying to remain focused. That's all you can do.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I wasn't saying that. Go ahead. You good?
Yeah. So, man, the news. Oh, let me back up. Rewind. Okay. So, almost didn't make the barbershop today, but I did, right? Okay. So I noticed a different slight shift in energy today. So, it was another group because I went later than I normally do. There was a different group of guys in there. So, we are in there, we talking, it was kind of me, the barber, and another guy that he knew was kind of close. So we all were chatting it up. So then I noticed the barber started doing a lot of inclusive conversation about hanging out in the summertime, and he kept telling me, I'm gonna be hitting you up this summer. And I'm sitting there like, you ain't never said this in all these times I've been getting a haircut with you, but he kept saying I'm gonna be hitting you up and all these things because it's gonna be summertime. And I'm like, what you talking about? But anyway, make a long story short, he then says, yeah, because our lease is up in June. He said the lease is up in June where they are. So I said, you mean June 30th? Or June 1st, because most of the time, if your lease is up in June, you gotta get out the day before, right? Or the 30th, 31st, whatever that case is. So he says, so I tried to wait before I asked him certain questions. He said she's moving, meaning the girlfriend. She's moving back home for the summer. And I said, for the summer? And I said, is she coming back? Oh, yeah, she coming back. So I asked him, I said, so are you going to, before he told me he was moving, I said, are you keeping the apartment? And he said, nah, I'm just going to put my stuff in storage and I'm going to rough it. And I said, what does that mean, man? What you mean you're going to rough it? Now, I was being quiet because I'm like, because I don't have a room. But anyway, I feel bad for it. I was like, no. Anyway, so he says he's going to put his stuff in storage and kind of like become this summer bachelor, of lack of a better word. So I told him, what, you gonna get another place? He says, oh, I might just get a room or something. And I was like, oh, I said, you should get a place if you can help. I said, if you can get a room, you can get your own one room and let that be that. I don't know your situation, but at least try to get one room to yourself. Don't move in with somebody if you can help it. Don't move into somebody's room if you can help it. You don't have that room for yourself. Yeah, so I was just telling him that I said, if you need me to help you with that, I can help you. I'll help you look around, but don't do this route. So he was like, yeah. So he kept talking. But what I noticed is he was kind of deflecting because I know that her separating from him is a big deal. He tried to downplay it, but I know it's affecting the fact that he had this reality, and now she's saying to him she's gonna just go back to their hometown for the summer. And so I said, is she coming back? And I said, is she coming back? I said, so what's that gonna look like if you're dissolving your place? Because think about it, for people to separate for the summer, you necessarily wouldn't dissolve your place, right? If you're going for the summer, you're going to say, oh, I'm going to go spend time back home with my family, my mother, whomever, but I'll be back. And so I was trying to paint the picture to him so he won't be in another a false expectation. Because he says she's going to go home, be with her family, mother, dad, whomever. Then at the end of the summer, she's going to come back. And so I said, so she's going to come back, get another apartment, right? That, and mind you, she's not working. So who's going to sign for it, right? That's why I said, oh, this is kind of just ups and downs. So I was trying to paint pictures. I said, so she's going to come back and she going to get another place and you going to resume. Well, I don't know, because see, this summer, I'm going to be doing me. I'm like, what does that mean, man? That could mean doing more damage to your life. And he started laughing. I was like, for real? I said, I'm joking with you, but it's for real. I said, I know. And then I had to just hone on him. I said, now let's just keep it real. I know your friend over there. It seems like you know him real good. So let's just chat about it. I said, you know, this is affecting you. I mean, he said, yeah, but I can't. This is where the truth came up. But I can't help if someone wants to make a decision I don't have control over. She want to go home, right? I guess he may have asked her that whole "why you leaving" thing, but he wasn't going to disclose that in front of the guys. I know how that is. So he didn't want to tell all that. So he just pretty much was just like, she going home, and so that's what she going to do. Then I gotta make do here. So I said, yeah, you do. You gotta make do here. But that's, you're right, Dion. That's the first thing I thought, but I dared not tell him that. I didn't want to stab him in the chest. But that's the first thing I said. He's social. She's been social with somebody back home, because nobody's going to go back to no place where you don't have anything social established, especially if you ain't working to call your own shots on doing something. That don't make any sense. So I was like, yeah, that ain't happening. She going back there for whatever reason, allegedly, and then I guess we shall see at the end of the summer. So I ended the conversation by telling him, listen, we joking in here, but I said, this is your chance to reinvent yourself. I said, don't look at it as a playground summer, because that's the problem we got already, right? I said, look at it as a chance to reinvent your situation. I said, then I asked him, I said, so are you going to, because I know that they share a vehicle, right? So I said, is she got the car, or are you going to get a car? He said, yeah, I'm going to get a car. Then he paused and said, but for real, I don't like having no car. So I said, so you're going to be Ubering? Yeah, I said, again, let's reinvent the mindset. Nobody want to be spending money Ubering when you can have your own.
You muted. You just muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't say go out here and finance thousands of dollars, right? But you can get a hoopty, $1,500, $2,000, whatever. We can get something to get you to A and B rather than you just being barren while she's gone. So I said, use this as a chance to reinvent yourself, repurpose your focus, get you. That's why I said, I don't care if you get a studio apartment, get something for you. It'll help you feel better about yourself as a man instead of you can't help the fact that she wanted to go home. You were staying with her. You all are making it work the way it is. But the fact that she's leaving, you can't do anything about that. But start from fresh and just do what you do. He didn't say anything about breaking up, but she leaving. So to me, it's goodbye. That's what it means to be bye. But anyway,
So check your mic, because your mic went weird after you got back on. After you muted.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but your mic sounds weird. It sounds
okay.
Weird.
I'll do something really weird.
So here, real quick, right? So here's the first thing that comes to my mind. I don't know how old this guy is, but for men, any brothers listening, you get to a certain age, you need to have your own You need to have your own stuff. You need to have your own place. You need to have your own. You need to be able to stand on your own 2 feet without having to shack up. I did say that. Without having to shack up with somebody.
Yeah.
Look at brothers. You don't be what was a homosexual that we talked about.
Yeah, the homo. The guy who goes from couch to couch.
The couch not yours. You know, the plate not yours. You sitting there pilfering and living off somebody else. You know what I'm saying? You need to have your own, just as a man and just as people, both men and women. You need to have your own. Don't be dependent on somebody else's ability to provide for you. You need to have your own stuff, man. And instead of living off somebody, that's crazy. And so the fact that here's the thing that's really just crazy about this whole situation. The fact that she is leaving him for the summer.
It's a huge thing.
And then almost as if she has him on the shelf.
Correct.
He goes to another spot where she has somebody else on it.
Yeah.
And gonna pick up with them while she's down there.
Yeah.
You need.
Look at him. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I told him in a joking way because we don't connect on social media, so he don't know my page or anything. But I told him today, I said, look, man, I said one of these days we gonna talk because I said you like to be funny and social. I said we're gonna talk online. He don't even really know I do all this. But I say we're gonna talk online, and I'm gonna bring him right on there and be like, yeah, all right, let's talk. Now you got trapped.
Marlena, I'm with you. He needs to get his act together.
Yeah.
And he needs to get his act together independent from her.
For sure.
Because this is obviously a toxic relationship that he's involved in. And it's not helping him. Here's the thing. It ain't helping him. He's not getting any benefit out of this situation that he's in. I know I've been saying it, and we've been saying it in the comments. We sound like a broken record saying it over and over again. He need to leave her. He need to leave her and strike out on his own. I know his heart is all tied up in it. He got soul ties with this girl for whatever reasons. He need to pack up. Man, listen. If you decide. This is
the guide to people.
Okay. If you decide, as if we're in a romantic relationship and you decide all of a sudden you're gonna pick up your stuff and you're gonna roll out for a period of time for 3 months, and you're gonna be gone for 3 months, and our relationship is already in a state of flux.
Yeah, chaos.
It's unstable.
Yeah.
We need to take a break.
Yeah.
Until we can figure out what both of us want as individuals before we can figure out what we want together as a couple, because this is not working, man.
Yeah.
You think I'm gonna sit here and wait for you to come back after you finish doing your business wherever you're gonna do your business at?
But the biggest,
as a man, how do I think about myself?
Yes, and the biggest thing is women will not typically just separate from their guy when they're already with them. Exactly. And if they did, so I do understand she's not necessarily working and he does, but certainly she's not going to sever the connector, which is their place.
Exactly.
The fact that she's severing the connector is saying, this is my opportunity to reboot, because I don't necessarily, I don't know if anybody else can experience this in their life, but it is not a fun thing to realize you made a not so good decision to move with somebody after you already moved with them. So you are hoping for that opportunity to push the reset button so that y'all can go your separate ways, which is what this feels like. This summer was a perfect situation. The lease is up in the summer. So I'm going home. She could have said, I'm going to get a bigger place or whatever for us, and we can have more space. But to say you're going home, losing the place, that's a out the door move. I don't care what nobody says.
And listen, Charles. So it might be, I will acquiesce to this. It might be that because we are an older generation, that we don't necessarily know what's happening in the next generation in terms of how they conduct themselves or how they do what they do. You know what I'm saying? And I'll grant you that. Okay, but it sounds like to me that. And ordinarily, like you said, most women who are in relationships don't do that kind of thing.
Yeah, unless they're done with you.
Leave and be gone.
Yeah.
Well, that man that's out there exposed to the whole world, and it's about to be summertime. Everybody about to be outside.
Everybody about to be outside.
No, I'm not outside. I'm always gonna be inside. I'm not the outside guy. I'm gonna be the inside. I'm gonna be the guy in the AC. That's where I'm gonna be. But Charles, your girl is outside.
Yeah.
That's where she's going. She's going outside to find somebody else to play with on the playground.
Ooh.
What are we really doing, ladies and gentlemen? What are we doing?
I'm gonna do my best to. Look, he a grown man, but I am gonna tell him when that June, because he says he gonna move out in June, the beginning of June or the end of May, whatever. I say that's next weekend, basically. But when I see him going forward, I'll be like, so you gonna get your place? See, I'm gonna keep that little bug in his ear. Like, come on, don't fall, don't waste all this chance to get yourself together off some foolishness. Yeah. As long as you got a job, you can provide for yourself and focus and maintain. Right? And that's how
he needs to be able to do that for himself, not for anybody else, but just for himself. I mean, I would if I had ever had the opportunity, I said, dude, you need to take a year.
Yeah. For you. Yeah.
Just to get you together, because right now you are an absolute epic mess. You're a mess.
Wow.
You're a mess mentally. You're a mess emotionally.
Yeah.
You're tangled up in this situation that is not in your best interest. This is a situation that is literally breaking him down so much to the soul, much to the point where he doesn't even, all he's thinking about is her in terms of making her life easier. I'm gonna tell you right now, if I had a girl that decided she was gonna roll out and be gone for 3 months at a time, guess what? I'm gonna be gone too. I'm gonna be gone. You can come back to this place, but I won't be back in this place.
Oh wow!
You can't find me here because it's obvious to me that what we have doesn't mean anything to you.
Wow!
Because if it meant something to you, you wouldn't be taking off for 3 months at a time.
Yeah.
So for you to do this means that what we have means absolutely nothing to you.
Yeah. Because women will even say, let's just say, I'll be the angel's advocate, not the devil's advocate. Okay. Let's just say she's like, no, I'm really going to see my parents. I'm just saying that I'm going to see my parents and spend time while you're here working. It's a chance for me to go home. Most women that are connected and don't want to sever their connection are going to say, can you at least come down twice a month or something? Or I'll come back one time or whatever. She's going to say something to be amicable to keep the connection. She's not just going to go and happily stay the whole 3 months from you. That's what I'm saying, yeah.
No, and here's the thing. So again, and I think because of the history of these two, because of the history, you gotta think this girl ain't up to no good.
Wow.
She ain't up to no good, man. Come on. It would be different. It would be different if if she was vested in the relationship and she acted and conducted like she was vested in the relationship. But she's clearly not vested. Wow. She's completely divested, not interested, trying to find a way out, and this is it. He needs to take the hints, and move on with the rest of his life.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, that's it, man. That's real talk. Bruce said she's taking the semester off. Oh gosh, but yeah,
school is out.
School is out. That's it. It's fun time. Look, unfortunately, Adam, for a lot of people, summertime rearranges their relationship and it rearranges their marriage.
Wow.
Unfortunately. Wow. Yeah, people get lusty, and I don't even necessarily mean lusty of other people. They get lusty of a good time, of what someone else they're connected to is having, whether it's my guy friends, whether it's my lady friends, or they outside. Look at their pictures they posting at the rooftop, all this kind of stuff, and now you feel like you're missing out. And then here we go, that FOMO factor, and we got to run on out and connect with everybody. And then before you know it, you jeopardizing what you have just for a season.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right.
That's crazy.
So, in other quick news, looks like we probably all need to put earplugs in our ear from the Diddy trial.
You know what, dude? What?
At first, I was like, "What happened? What happened?" And then, after I keep hearing things as a man, Adam, I just be like, "Okay, it's time to put earplugs in your ear."
You know what? You know, I thought about that because I even thought about that earlier this week. I was listening to some reports that were coming in, and some of the stuff that I was like, you know what? I'm tired now. I'm actually tired.
Yeah, it's a lot. I guess it's a lot.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot. And to me, I'm like, can we get to the point of, I know they're probably trying to take their path to get to wherever they're going. But a lot of this, unless somebody is saying, I was chained to the bed, beat and starved every morning, and then at 12 o'clock, 3 men would come in and leave an hour and a half later. You understand what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, now I got it. I know that there was a situation where I believe it looked like she was trying to get away. That was the only situation the world saw, right? But the other times in the text messages makes it look like, to a degree, you are complicit. To a degree. I'm not going to say total. To a degree. And so with that, all of that being said, all of this stuff, I'm like, why are we going to hear about all of this? Just get to the bottom line of what we are trying him for. Does these things fit to what he's guilty of? If they are, smack, and let's just move on. If not, like, this is seeming like we getting further under the covers, and this is like, my goodness.
Yeah, I think the prosecution is in the process of trying to establish at least their viewpoint of his character, which will speak to his behavior, the reason why he's doing what he's doing or what he's capable of. And I think when you do that by putting out all of these scandalous, things, it just makes what the real crime is more believable. Because the prosecution has to sit here and they have to set up the case as to say, okay, these are all of the things that he did that were extraneous, but the real core of the matter, what we're actually prosecuting him for, is this. And we need the jury to be able to believe that he's capable of this. So this is about establishing the character which dictates the behavior of this particular person.
Yeah, because to be honest, if I'm telling the jury anyway, we in the jury hereby move of perversion. That's what I've heard so far.
Yeah,
perversion. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know about anything else, but so far, like I know they're building, but so far, what I've heard is perversion. Like it's just lust and perversion on a whole entirely different level. So
act in and of itself. That's not again. This is not about necessarily those salacious things that he did in terms of his sexual behavior, but it's more or less they're attributing it to his character to again establish the fact that if this person is like this in terms of what he's doing sexually, then it kind of they want to chart a path to the actual
for sure.
And so even with his relationship in terms of how far he was willing to go to get what he wanted to get.
Right. Okay, that's fair. Yeah. All right. So on that note, let's shift to the point at hand today, Adam. We are discussing. Let me find this today. Do you have the thing put up to read in a second? But let's see. All right. So, hold on. Where's the thing at? I'm sorry. Oops. Hold on.
Got it.
We are discussing the affairs of the younger woman and the older man. Can the love become authentic, or is it solely an endured exchange? Now, I don't know, before you read, Adam, I don't know if you saw this, or I know you're not on social media a lot, but here lately, even if you just open up your browser sometimes, I've been seeing a lot of, like, I've maybe seen over the course of the past week and a half or so, maybe 3 or 4 posts where there are, maybe it's an attractive couple, maybe the guy is older, right? He's an older man, and the woman is attractive, and she's a clearly younger woman. And it'll say something, the post, from what I understand, there's a whole group page contributed to this on Facebook now. But what it is, it'll say something like, he's 64 and I'm 32. We're in love, or this is my husband. Whatever. I'm just making an example, right? So you see all of these things, and I'm saying, wow. So now we are trending. So now it's trending as a cool trend, if you will, to say, find you a mature, well-to-do, if that's the case, nice-looking older gentleman, and you come with your best life and settle in with him, right? So at the end of the day, as we all say, first and foremost, as long as people, I guess people will always argue, as long as it's legal, right? As long as the person is legal, whether it's a man or a woman, let's start there. If we can get past the legal part, let's start from there. Now, here's the biggest, we got to put on our doctor's coat and white gloves today, Adam. This is one of those kind of shows. All right. So now, first and foremost, I'm already sweating, but listen, like the fire. But anyway, so here's the thing. For years, this has been a question, Adam, people want to know. Like, okay, if you are 50 plus anything man, right?
Yeah.
Why do you find a 20-year-old, a 18-year-old attractive? I'm starting there. That's the extreme end. I'm gonna move it up, but I'm just saying, why do you find them attractive? So I did some talking today at some of the guys, and I think that was the perfect ground. It was nothing but men in there, right? At the barbershop. So we talk about it a little bit. And so I said, yeah, tell me, what do y'all think about the age gap phenomenon happening when you see the older men, the younger women? And one guy, he sounded a little jaded, if I'm honest, like you would always say. He sounded a little jaded. He was just like, he said, because the women my age tried to act like my mother.
Oh, wow.
And he said, and that's unattractive to me. That's what he said. He said, the women his age, and this guy looked like he could at least probably been close to 50 or 40s, mid 40s or something. But he said the women his age tried to act like his mother. And he says, I want a clear distinction with my partner. Okay. He said, I don't want a mother. I have a mother or had one. He said, I want someone I can say, this is my part, this is my woman, and I'm made to feel that way. Okay. Right. And I said, interesting. And so then I told him, and I said, okay, I'm gonna be devil's advocate while we talking. I said, the flip side is, now, not that there's an excuse for anybody to purposefully act like somebody's father or mother, right? But I said, typically when a woman steps up to appear like a mom, it's typically because she sees some irresponsible behavior to some degree. He ain't see that with me. I was like, okay, but I was just saying that's typically when women typically don't start that unless there's some things that you're doing that you need to do better at, right? Then their instinct will kick in to be like, well, you need to do this, that, right? Okay, fine. We've all been there, done that. So I say that's fair. So then the other guy says, younger guy. He was an Asian guy. He was kind of soulful Asian guy. He was a barber. And so he says, I like my baddies a certain age range. And he brought up Leonardo DiCaprio. You know the actor, right? I know that. He says, just like Leonardo DiCaprio, he says, even though he's 47 years old, he won't date a woman over 25.
Wow.
He says, he calls it Leo's law. Okay. He won't date a lady over 25, but whatever. He says he likes women kept a certain way, looking a certain way, and he doesn't have to have that argument of what he doesn't care for if he goes beyond it. So then I said to myself, what is it? If I had to think about it. So you notice today we have a lot of places that they have these places that they offer IV services. They're not the hospital. They're just storefront places that you can go and go get IVs, right? Whether it could be whatever it is, so that you are deficient of, if you'll sit there and pay for this weekly or whatever service that you do, whatever. So I say, if I'm thinking for an older man, and a younger woman, the first thing I would think, besides something physical or attractive from the physical perspective, you looking for an energy IV. Younger women, to me, the first line of defense for an older man to a younger woman is her energy level is going to be different than an older woman. And we're not even talking about intimacy. We're talking about her rigorous movements about everything. Let's do this. Let's come on, daddy. Now here, that's where it gets hairy at him. So this is where you know the situations are getting a little hairy. Now, men, listen. If men are listening out there at Radio Land, if you've ever dated a younger woman, and it don't have to be an extreme gap, but if she's 15, 10, 15, whatever, and close before you get to the 20 mark, sometimes you'll notice when they're beckoning you to do things or trying to have even the banter you have back and forth, you'll become zaddy with a Z, daddy, papa, poppy, all of these things that reminisce. It puts you in the mind of potentially, I'm going to go slow here, right? We're going to inch to this part. Potentially daddy issues, right? When you in some cases, this isn't the case for all women, but in some cases, I personally believe some women, maybe the way they were raised or not, right? When it concerns a man. So when they find a man that they say, this guy looks like he is a man that takes care of his business. I have the deficiency of not having a father, right, in my life. But I do want a man that I can love and depend on as well. So it's kind of like a weird 2-for-1. You got this fatherly image, but you have this seasoned man that gives you the maturity of things that come with a man that have amassed some things over time. Whether he got a big house, he got a pension, money, benefits, whatever he comes with, it looks more attractive, right? Some women have said before, like if they talk to an older guy, that they just like the fact that a guy has his stuff together. These younger guys who playing these games. So, if he's already if he's already been married or is living the life that I want to live and find a husband, then why not? Age is nothing but a number. So they go ahead and do it. And so there's, like you said, there's a million reasons why. Now, I know I said the energy part first, but if you ask me, Adam, what my thoughts are,
here we go.
I personally think if we're throwing aside, of course, the obvious physical, we can't throw that away. Most of the time, if we're honest, physical is probably first.
Okay, yeah.
That whole energy and physical all in the same. Okay, that's first. Whatever you like, however you like it to look, be presented, fine.
Right.
But I think men have a natural thing about them to teach. It's not necessarily the way they're teaching or what they're teaching, but they like to have women they can teach. Meaning, yeah, baby, I'm gonna take you over here and show you what we used to do when we was coming up. That's all we used to do. Oh, look, wait till I show you. I got somebody that can help you do that. Oh, don't worry, I can connect you to this. It's always some sort of teaching happening. Okay. The thing is, when you get with women your age, in most cases, they've seen what you've seen. They've been through the tumultuous relationships or marriages like you. So when you talk to them, the teaching dynamic is a little different. What you talking about, Leroy? Yo, sorry, self, man. Ain't nothing down there. Ain't nothing down there over there. He like, but I'm teaching right now. That's whatever. Sit on down. You ain't got no job, no way. I'm just making a point, right? So I'm making it funny, but it can get like that. And so with the man, he's always wanting to be doted, if we just being honest. He wants to feel like he has a pupil that's ready to always listen, right? And so I'm saying that to say younger women, in some cases, can appear to be amendable. Amendable meaning it's like if we're talking about a contract contracts, the best contracts are the one that have the open clauses that you can make edits and changes to, which is what you can do in some cases to a younger woman. Whereas the appearance of an older woman says she comes already with, she's been redlined 2 or 3 times. So can I amend her any further? I'm just making an example, right? Can I amend her further than what she is? Or is she just stuck in where she is and we're gonna have an argument? Now, there are some women that are older that are kind of hybrid. They're older, but they're young in spirit. Or they are amendable. There are some older women that are not just whatever, don't tell me nothing. You understand what I'm saying? There are some women that are agreeable. But if we're being honest, a lot of men will say they shy away from the older woman because, just like the older woman will say about the older man, he or she is stuck in her ways, and there is no amendable actionings happening here. So why am I here? So go ahead.
Wow. Yeah. So yeah, you know what? I'm going to jump in on this part of the highway, and then I'm going to come on down the road where you are. So yeah, when you think about it from a realistic point of view, yes, when you're dealing with 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 25, 30, yes, there are attractive women in that age range. And yeah, they are attractive. Let's be honest about that. And I can see why an older man would want somebody younger in terms of them being attractive and looking good or whatever like that. But I think the larger, at least for me, I have to look at the issue a little more comprehensively, a little more deeply, because if we limit attractiveness just to somebody's physicality or how they appear, we're going to actually miss out on the real person, their personality, how they think, how they conduct themselves, how they act. Now, just to be real transparent, after my divorce and I was looking to get back into another relationship, one of the things that I said to myself when it came to finding somebody else to be a part of my life was that I was not going to date beyond a certain age. Because for me, I realized, for me being who I am, I needed somebody on my level. And I needed somebody in my spirit. I needed somebody within my age range.
Yeah.
Because I know, you said that men want to teach, which is fine. Yeah. I might be the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
I can teach. Do I want to? Not really. Because here's the thing, though, Charles. When I'm at a certain age, there are some things that I'm already expecting you to know.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to make clear communication to you as to what those things are, but at the same time, there are some things that I'm already expecting you to know. I'm expecting you to already have handled certain things within your own person. Yeah. So, and I mean no disrespect. When I'm getting into a relationship with a woman, I'm not looking to raise them like I raise my children.
That's good.
I'm just saying, and again, I'm not faulting anybody. If that's what your thing is, then by all means, okay, all right, okay. But I'm not really looking to raise my kids all over again.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, though, Charles. So as much as I might be teaching her, I'm also expecting her to teach me.
Yeah.
Because when I come into the relationship, I'm not looking at it as a pupil and a teacher.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it as equals. We're both equals in this, and we both have something to share within the scope and the parameter of our relationship.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. Now, having said that, again, my reasoning is
keep it a buck. Come on. No, man, go ahead.
So, yes, the 18 to 25, yes, attractive or whatever like that. But I don't see me being able to relate to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they are of a different era. They're of a different generation.
Yes.
And I think that is the reality of it all.
Yeah.
Charles, if let's be honest with it. Let's keep a buck. You know, if I'm in a relationship with somebody who's 20, 21, 22, and and they looking good, then you got to think, okay, what are their conversations like? Yeah. What do they have in common? How do they relate to each other? Because at the end of the day, Charles, if we're gonna keep it a buck, let's keep it a buck. It's mostly about the sex.
Yeah.
Let's be real. And hey, ooh, Lord have mercy. So for my older brothers, who might need a little help in that particular area in terms of what you're taking medicinally to help you. You might want to be a little careful. You might want to get your cardio checked out before you end up in a situation that you did not want to end up in the first place, because you're doing something that you probably are not supposed to do age-wise. Age-wise, you might be prohibited. Come on, help me, somebody. You might be prohibited from doing certain things because of the fact that you are of a certain age. And so now you got to actually realize that maybe there are some things that aren't necessarily matching up with somebody who's younger than me. Yeah. Because if you're younger than me, then you might be outpacing me in certain things, unless you're keeping yourself healthy. So and even with that, when you're older, you still got to be aware of some things. How many times have we heard about older men in the middle of their intercourse dying? Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So I think Jason took the words out of my mouth when he said, let me go back to what he said, it's not just sex, but her being teachable as well. So it's not so much that you're looking for someone to be a loving student of yours, right? But you want the person to be able to be responsive to your influence, to your voice, to not necessarily become. It's like we don't want an opponent. You want the person to be sensitive to how you feel and vice versa. So that's kind of where I was going when I said sometimes. I'm not saying this happens all the time, but a lot of times when we look one another in the face at the same age, we can sometimes clash because we feel we are too familiar with your struggle as well as mine. And so we just be like, yeah, I'm gonna get me a younger man. Well, I'm gonna get a younger. You know how old folks joke about that all the time, right? And so he says, men will never stay or be faithful where their influence and voice don't matter. That's facts. That's for real. So that's what I'm saying. That's really what it comes down to. And so that's not to say an older woman or an older paired couple that can't happen. That at that point, to me, that would speak to, do we have a healthy reciprocal respect cadence between one another? Because if somebody's not listening to you, that says they don't respect you, right? That's kind of like it. If you don't want to hear what I got to say, you don't want to respect the person anyway. So you got a whole another problem right there. But I just think that in most cases, it's definitely a thing that we need to look at, because like from the older woman to the older man, because like you said, yes, the older man can get the younger woman. But like you also said, when it gets past, whatever you may find in that relationship that's working for you, it's going to get to a point that reality is going to come in that this person is however many years younger than you. So in their mind, you may have a problem or issue coming up in your life, and you may say, Carolyn, I was at the job today and they told me this. And while you dumping off your talk that an older woman may receive a lot differently and better, right? The younger girl gonna listen to you. Oh, if they did, Poppy, are we going to eat so we get a steak tonight? They're gonna shift. And your mind gonna be like, I just told you about my day. But I'm just trying to tell you, this happens where they don't understand, their convictions are different than yours. They don't have the life seasoning like you have. So when it comes to those things, or when it comes to their idea of a good time, You may be you're an older person, so not that you like geriatric, but you're older. So your idea of relaxation and chilling looks a lot different. To them, are we gonna do something? I want to go see NBA YoungBoy. He at the so and so, and you're like, I ain't going to see no. But in their mind, they want to go because that's what the music they listening to, and that's what their friends want to do. Or if you go somewhere with them and their friends show up, the friends young too, you're like, this is all the way around not a good thing, but it happens. So my point is, to men, of course, we all have free will. But I think if you find someone, if they are younger, and if that dynamic socially works for you, and all those other aspects, if you can stomach it and deal with it, that it works for you, then do you. Just as I would say to a woman and a younger man, if it works for you, right? But if we're honest, whether a woman older with a younger man or with an older man and a younger woman, because we are older, when we see instances that we've already passed by behavior-wise, then we can't help it. Here comes the mother and the father. That father, older man, or that older woman instinct going to pop in, and you're going to say something. The person will be like, "You ain't my. Who you think you? You know, it's going to because now you're saying, but you're acting like a child. That's an immature decision." But yeah, we made the immature decision of choosing. Exactly. So you got to start there. Yes, they're actually acting their age. You're not. Basically, they're acting their age, but you're not. So you know, a lot of times it's a tough thing because that age thing can look a little different. You know, you can find some women within a 10, maybe even 15 year, a little less, that will come across rather mature. Right? Because women mature a little easier, faster than us anyway. So you can talk to someone. So I'm saying that to say, if you're 10 years behind someone, they're acting almost like you because it's kind of a balance, right? But even in those instances, you're going to hear those moments of immaturity. And it's different than someone at your age. Because someone at your age is going to not so much sweat the small things. See, when a woman or a man has learned and you've been through things and you realize, yes, I didn't like that action. I didn't like what you did. I didn't like where you went. But you realize as an older person, why am I going to sweat trying to get mad over what a grown person does? I cannot control them. But we sit there because we're young and vigorous and rigorous and ready to react. Anything that's off kilter, we ready to check. And what that does, younger people do it because they feel they have the energy to do it. Older people don't do it because we don't want to waste energy on nothing that's unnecessary. So that's why I said it's all about finding that person that has the balance for your life. Where you're a little weak, they're a little strong, and you all kind of offset one another. It's not easy to find. But when you do, you know that, hey, this is a good pairing. So I don't want to mess that up. You know what I mean?
So you know what I would just add to that, and this is also worth discussing as well, and it's kind of going to hit some of us in a different way, and that is the fact that chronological age does not always equate to maturity. And I think sometimes, depending on who you are and who you're with and who you hang around, you might be older chronologically in terms of your age. You've had so many birthdays, yes. But maturity-wise, you're still acting like a 20-year-old. Or even a 15-year-old, if we're being honest with ourselves. The fact that we're not carrying ourselves the way that we should, or better yet, we have failed to learn the lessons that life has wanted to teach us, so that when we do reach a certain age, we carry a level of maturity and full development that is worthy of an older man or older woman. You know what I mean? And again, that's not to say that you know, your 20-year-olds and your 30-year-olds are not mature. Because I believe there are some ones that are mature beyond. But I think it's also that much more of a shame and a crime that when you reach a certain age, you 40, 45, 47, 48, 49, 50, that you have not learned certain things. And in terms, it kind of makes me think that these are the ones that are looking back at their 20s, picking the 20-year-old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Their emotional maturity is lacking. And because their emotional maturity is lacking,
yeah, for sure,
they're looking back at the 20-year-old as being attractive and being something that they can actually use and have in their life. Because if I'm being honest, and I'm just speaking for me, as an older man, we don't have nothing in common. Hey, Charles, my kids are your age. What am I doing? Trying to pick somebody that really?
Hey, look, it happens all the time. Look, you have no idea how many divorces end up with, let's just say a couple got children, right? And next thing you know, I was with my dad this weekend. We went on a picnic. Oh, what was the lady like? You talking about Angel? Oh, she's 25. Like, excuse me, the wife is 50 years old. You know what I'm just saying? But this happens so often. And so with that scenario I just mentioned, it puts me in the mind the way you broke it down. If I'm honest, I could see where some men could look at their decisions post a breakup, post a divorce, or even after they wake up and say, I didn't work so many hours of my life, I need to have fun, right? Some men I think they just don't come out and say it, but some men are looking for a redo.
Okay.
Some men looking for a redo. If they're honest, and the redo is, yes, I picked Margaret, and her and I, we both got married at 30 and we got divorced at 55. It was a good run. But if I had to think through everything I did with Margaret and how I maybe didn't show up or could have shown up better as a man, I think I would love to have another canvas so that I could do a redo, a chalkboard with no writing on it.
Okay.
Only my writing can start. And then I can start to instill or cultivate in them the things I didn't in the wife that I had, right? To maybe get a different reciprocal exchange. I'm just throwing that out there. That's possibly what that could be. Because when you think about it, if a man has been married to someone for umpteen years and you get a divorce, it does make you say, why reinvent the wheel and go back and get an extremely younger person? Why not just find another person the age of your wife, right? It's almost like saying a man is 50 years old, he got children in their 20s and 30s. But then he tells the lady when they get to 55, we can have a baby. And now it's like, well, why are you going to go back and have a brand new baby? I know people do it for different reasons, but it'll make you say, why reinvent the wheel if you already have grown children? You understand what I'm saying? So the thing is, in this realm, it's making you think, why go back and do this? If that's what it is. Bruce says at 56, 35 is too young. Yeah, because the things you don't have to talk about the way. Listen, let's be honest, okay? Let's say this one thing, Adam and Bruce. Listen, let's be honest. Sexually, you're not going to complain. You're not going to the 30, 20, whoever legal. 35, 40 come to you and you 55, 56, and if you not got nothing going on, but they find you attractive and I'm gonna be with you, Chris, we may be like, whatever. Now, let's just be honest. But when it comes to the whole relationship, carrying on the relationship, now it's like you got to think about this differently, because this means I have to now relate to a younger mind, right? I have to try to force myself into a different box. This is a younger minded person. We don't really connect on so many things. I see religion differently. I see politics differently. I see my personal problems and all these different things. Look, men, the things that men got to prepare for and get themselves together health-wise at 50 plus years old, the women are like, what has she got to go do? They don't have no clue. So my point is, a woman your own age will understand. Oh, yeah. And she has an entirely different bandwidth of empathy and respect for where you are, because as an older woman, she's just looking for a person to make her feel secure so she can ride out her glory years too.
Yes.
That's why I say it's not unattainable to find someone within a healthy age range to ride it out with. It's just you have to communicate what you like and do not like, and be honest. And don't hold back. Be honest about what you like and what you don't like. And then if you agree at those places and you don't feel like there is ambiguity where something may not work, then it's up to you to do you and move forward, right? But if not, what's the point of entering into something just because it looks good on your arm or just because it looks good in your bed? Let's just be honest. When a lot of times when men go way younger, she makes him feel younger energy-wise. He can go to the company event, he gets respected because she's, you able to pull that beautiful model? Now you got respect. Now the other men are like, look at Adam pull Kalakanga from over the top Tibetan forest. Anyway, listen, the men are respecting you. You come with this model. They're like, where do you get this person from? And then in the bed, aesthetically, that's about it. Other than that, you might be at the table. You're gonna call yourself going out for a steak dinner. They on what's that other one? Not they on Snapchat. You at the table looking at the stocks and what your stocks are doing, and they like, you so crazy, girl. Take a look at my food. All this crazy, so different. It don't match. Like y'all are at, it just don't go. And so the key is just like you would do before you find your wife or husband. You just got to look for the person again that you all match one another. Right. You match one another and you complement each other well. And like you said, age doesn't have to be the killer there. You can find people within your age that have a lot of zest for life. And people are physically attractive. So to me, it's a win-win if you find the woman within your age range that you still find very attractive and you're not losing anything. You can relate to her socially. You can, everything aligns and you still are physically attractive rather than saying, let me go get this very, very, very obviously younger woman that I may be attracted to. If we're just being honest, you like how tightly wound something looks and all that, right? Okay, let's just be honest. But socially and just all the other things just may not align. And so you have to be able to deal with that. And in most cases, men will enjoy, like I said, the physical aspect, the aesthetic aspect, the respect aspect. But the part where it becomes hell is the relating. You can't relate. And that's where it's like, we can't relate. This ain't going to work. You know what I mean?
You know what the other aspect of this is, and it's something that I'm actually dealing with and thinking about a lot more than I did when I was younger. And that is the fact that whoever I pick, however old or young that they are, particularly if they're younger,
yeah.
You stupid.
He said, that's all right. Take some good notes.
So the reality is, Charles, is that now at this stage in my life, I'm thinking about who am I growing old with? Think about that for a minute. Who am I growing old with? Because the way you look today is not going to be the way that you look several years from now. And if you think about it, we've all seen the TV shows with the older guy, he like in his 70s, 75, 80 years old. He done got hooked up with this 25-year-old person. And we're all thinking in ourselves, well, this is an old, wrinkled up old man. What the heck what is she getting out of this besides the fact that he's maybe rich or has money or whatever like that? But
that's what she's getting. That's what she's getting out of it.
Exactly. But my point is this. My point is this: is that I want to be with somebody who I can grow old with, not have them watch me grow old. Because if they're younger than me, if they're out of my age range in terms of being in their 20s and their 30s, they're not growing old with me. They're watching me grow old. I want somebody who can walk with me in this way, not watch me walk away. Come on,
watch me die, rather. But guess what? Well, now here's where it gets ugly.
Yeah.
That is the trade-off. For him, he gets the fountain of youth. Wow. For her, she gets the benefits of what you have amassed.
Right.
Whatever comes with, hey, let's bring Diddy into it, right? Okay. Look at the girl, Young Miami, his last public relationship. Young girl, body, whatever, all that, cute face, all that. So even though they were in this relationship, if you looked very closely, he looked very, very sponsorish when he was with her. He helped her get a show. She had a show called Carisha, Please. And so when he came on the show and she was interviewing him, it just seemed very much like my dad that I like.
Yeah.
That's what it just seemed. And then all this talking about going on yachts and boats, he introduced her into a life she never, ever, ever seen before. So my point is, I'm using an extreme example, but even in situations where some of the extremely young women go for the older men for what they appear to feel as though how mature he is, how put together, and he's settled, he has his own house, and all these things, the money in the bank and all that. So you decide to say, I'm going to choose to do this, and I don't care if this person is older, they take care of me, that's my boo. And that's the reality of it. They do everything a regular relationship would do, right? But except, and now here's the bomb, the drop. In most of these cases, these women will date the older man for the exchange because he's getting something, she's getting something. But because he is older, she knows unless there's a God-foreseen change in life and God's will of things, he'll likely probably ghost before her, right? So with that being said, she knows, she's like, well, this is fun, but I'm not finna put all my eggs in one basket. So I'm saying that to say 9 times out of 10, when a woman has an older sponsor or dealing with an older gentleman, 9 times out of 10, Bruce, she has a younger toy that she plays with.
Yeah.
She don't require him to take care of nothing because the older man does it all. So he I live with him and I go see him and we go on trips. But when I get back, boo, I holler at you. That's the reality of it. So you know what I mean? Yeah.
And you know the fact that you put it the way that in the terms that you put it in terms of being a sponsor.
Yeah.
It's all of the affection, all of the feelings, all of the love out of it, and now we are simply left with a transaction. This is a transaction that's happening. And see, that's the thing, though, right? So I don't want to be involved in just a transaction that is devoid of emotion, devoid of sentiment, devoid of feelings in terms of how I feel about the person that I'm with. I don't want to just be somebody else's paycheck. I can say something about that, but I'm gonna let that go. I don't want to be just a source of income to somebody where they have the benefits of enjoying all of my supposed assets. You know what I'm saying? I want them to enjoy me just like I enjoy them. And I think the only way that can really happen, at least for me in my life, is that I want somebody who is with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just your ATM. Okay, I'm not just what you're getting out of it. I want us to experience this life together. Now, I told you earlier that my wife is actually 6 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And she always makes the joke of the fact that when I shave all my hair off my face like I have right now, I literally look younger than she does.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But the reality is that she is somebody who I want to live. I want to grow old with this person.
Yeah.
Because they're growing old with me. They're not just watching me grow old.
Right.
And I don't know. I got to think about that, man.
Yeah.
See, if I'm watching you grow old,
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for something.
I'm participating in your life.
Wow.
I'm literally spectating. I'm literally watching you grow old.
Wow.
But the reality is that if I'm in this covenant together with you, we're both growing old together. We're both walking this path together as a couple. You know what I'm saying?
Now, here's the responsibility, though, the part that we don't pay attention to as men. Much like in real life, let's just say if you're like in Texas, a lot of these men got F-150s and above, all kinds of pickup trucks in Texas, right? So my point is, if you go from driving, I'm saying this, let's just say the F-150 is the older man. And you just turn it now. There's nothing wrong with the F-150. It rides well. It handles all kinds of terrain. Fine. It take care like your same age woman or wife could do. But you do got to keep in mind, if you decide to get that mid-age cringe, right? And you say, I can afford a Maserati. You can afford it, but you got to know premiums change. When you decide to choose exotic, your insurance coverage goes up, everything changes. You can go to finance if you got good credit, but it matters when you start to shifting your desires. So just like in real life, when the older man go to the younger woman, guess what? His bank account starts decreasing. I don't care what you say. It's going to start decreasing because guess what? She wants the clothes. She wants the bags. She wants the places. She wants, it's like, because in her mind, every day is Christmas because I hit the jackpot with a person that, like you said, you couldn't stand, that have amassed all of this great maturity. They worked, they were a police chief for so-and-so years. They got all this pension. They got all this land. They got all these things. So to her, it's a win-win to play in, right? It's a win-win. Just as it is with the Cougars. With the Cougars, you get the young buck with the strong back that keeps on like the Energizer Bunny at him. So it's the same. Look, and her purse gets lighter too. It's no way around it. If you tap into the fountain of a youth, of whether you're the older woman or the older man, there is a cost associated. A premium change happens when you make those kind of decisions. So I think God set up life for it to be in a way that we are supposed to be able to work within our realms. We have started to look over the fences and say, I did pretty good for myself. I think I deserve 2 or 3 Maseratis and Lamborghinis too. Let me go in and do all this exotic stuff. And now, look, there are men out here, Adam, that are they're sponsors to multiple women. You can go into any of these high-class bars in your downtown area. You're going to see the salt and pepper dude, the bar, clean-shaven suit. He got the money, cigared up. He got the money, but he loves himself so much, he's not going to limit himself to one young baddie. He wants all of them. But he realizes there is a cost to the exotic choices. Not to say, like you said, I don't know why we don't think of the women close to your age as the person to be able to match you. Like she can't look good on your arm. We just think it's younger looks better on my arm. If you can look at a number of these celebrities or sports athletes, most of the time, now maybe in the actors, you'll see your Samuels, your Denzels, your what's the lady that played in What's Love Got to Do with Angela Bassett, her and her husband, people that seem to be kind of matched in their age. But aside from that, there's always this extreme jump. Here's this older guy with this very, very, very young looking lady. You understand what I'm saying? And it almost makes it seem like I have to do a redo in order to present the world like I want to present it. You know what I mean?
Right. No, you're right. You're absolutely right, man. Again, that's, and honestly, if I'm being honest in terms of this conversation, in terms of what we're talking about, I've never had a desire to date somebody that young. Now, again, I will, say yes, absolutely. They are attractive, but after a while, the attractiveness is going to wane. After a while, they're not going to be looking as good, and so I need somebody who can not only look good outside, but I need somebody who actually is good inside. I need somebody who can converse with me on the level that I'm on, that we can talk about things, and we can have shared experiences in terms of our age and our life, in terms of where we walk. Now, granted, we come from different places, but there are some shared similar experiences.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And again, I just want to say one more time, as it is a sharing between the two of us. It's not just a taking on my end or just on her end, but there's a reciprocal exchange that's taking place between the two of us. You know what I'm saying? I've never wanted to be in a relationship where I was the absolute, superior one, and I had a subordinate. Wow. And you might want to teach me something on this. You might want to educate.
Right.
That's fine and well, but I know what I know. I do know what I know. I've always wanted somebody who was on the same step that I was on.
Yeah. You know what I've learned, Adam, while you're absolutely right. Like you want, like you said, you want someone to get you and all of that. Yeah. But what I have learned on tonight, Adam, is I'll put a slight argument in here. Yeah. It's because what I've learned is a lot of women will say, yes, I want my partner this, and I want us to be this and friends and all of this. Mm-hmm. But a lot of women, if they are honest, women want to be led.
Oh, absolutely.
They want to meet a man that he don't have to be teaching me all the time. I'm not a student, right. But I want to know that this man can lead me, because if she thinks he can lead me, she feels secure with him. And if she feels secure with him, she can be emotionally safe. And your marriage or relationship can have somewhat of a good chance at making it. Yeah. But again, because when women don't feel as though you can lead them, that's when you'll see her rise up and start doing the things you should probably be doing, or you should have suggested. That's a sign that she don't necessarily trust where you're leading her. You understand?
I totally believe in the leading aspect of it. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong on that. But I totally believe in the leading aspect of the husband in the household, head of household. Absolutely. But I think my point is this, is that in my leadership in this household, I'm not, I want to say this the right way, I'm not the dictator.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't dominate. I don't make my family feel less than. I'm not even giving commands. You know what I'm saying? And if we're going to take this little bit of time, I'm going to bring this to a close. I really understand what it means to be in a place of leadership, yet your leadership is not stemming from you as much as it's stemming from the one who's on the inside of you. Right. And what I mean by that is, as much as she is submitted to me, I'm submitted to Christ, who is the ultimate leader of my life.
Right.
So you might not think that there is anybody else to hold you accountable or for you to answer to, but I would beg to differ and say that as a leader in my house, okay, I am submitted to the one who leads me. Right. So that just in agreement with what you just said, Charles, so that the one who follows me is willing to submit to me. You can't be a leader without following somebody.
And look, and right with what you said, this is where I like, that's a great point that you just made about we leading, like we following him, she following you as you following him. However, us men, I don't think we do such a good job of allowing it. Like, it's one thing to say I'm following him, right? Or I'm getting my orders from above. Women sometimes like to see that in action. They want to see, like, we can say all day, God is telling me this and leading me in this direction, because that can be used as a control tool. Whenever you say God something, it's control. But if a woman sees, because sometimes listening to God means I'm going to tell my wife I'm sorry versus listening to you. Listening to God means I'm not even going to argue with her.
Right.
So that's what I mean. Instead of saying it, we got to show that this is me showing God standing up at me, because I'm not reacting or acting in a way that I could be acting. I'm showing restraint. Right. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's what we have to do more of as men. And I think we will see women more amicable and amendable to join in on our plans when they see us leading them correctly. That was a good point you made. Yeah. Sure.
And just to kind of bring it back all the way around to the whole topic so we can get ready to go. So that means men, we got to make better choices in who we select to be our partners. Yeah. And it ain't the 18 to 25 year range. Hello, somebody. Y'all don't want to talk back to me.
Oh, man.
You got to make a better decision, because here's the thing. You want somebody who's with you, not just,
there, not just watching you.
Right. That's all I'm going to say.
And I'm going to say this before we close, and I got to tell one minute story.
Oh, God.
Listen, Adam, I was in a very tumultuous situation with someone that was younger than me. I wouldn't say they was extremely younger than me, but they were younger than me. Probably, maybe I would say this person was probably maybe 12-ish some years, 12 and a half years, 13 maybe, younger than me.
Yeah.
So when the relationship wasn't going in the direction of that they wanted it to go, and when I was like, yeah, this is it, and I'm not doing this and whatever, you know how when you're at the end, the person says to me, and I'll never forget this, Adam. And I laughed, because to me, the relationship was so horrible. For me to say horrible, I'm not even saying that I didn't have no parts in it, but the relationship was so horrible, I didn't see how the person could fix their mouth to say, oh, don't worry, I'm just going to wait for the day that you are going to call me back. I hope that we hope that I'm not married or something, because you're gonna be sorry the day that you left me. But here's the crazy part, because this is what she tried to hit below the belt, Adam. She said, because you only got a few summers left.
She said she put a clothes on your
Bruce, that's why you don't date the young girls. That's it. No more young.
You only got a few
more summers. I got a lot of summers. Some a few more summers left. What in the world? I'm appalled that you feel that way. Anyway, so you're going to call. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I'm not going to say that. But I do need to go to the doctor. Can you take me there real quick?
No, anyway, you're going to look, Bruce, listen. If we be honest, Adam, some of these young relationships, woe unto us men, they will drive us to the fewer summers. You're going to stress drives you to the fewer summers. This is why you need the person on tonight that understands your plight of life, where you are, and can better care for you.
Oh, my God.
Now, here's the joke of the day. We're going to close on this. This comedian, T.K. Kirkland, if you ever Google him, T.K. Kirkland, he on YouTube, funny comedian, really crazy. But anyway, he always makes the jokes about how he dates younger women. But when they said to him one time live, why do you always dating younger women? You know what he said? He said, because, the older women, I love y'all. Y'all are cool, but y'all lose a lot of cartilage in your knees. That's what he said. He said the younger versus the older. He said the older women lose a lot of cartilage in their knees too soon. I said, what he said, tell an older woman to stand up and look at her knees, look at the younger. I was like, boy, you crazy. But I laughed it. But anyway, we out. Listen. Appreciate y'all for tuning in this week to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio, where we talked about basically the older man and the younger woman. Is it a viable connection? Is it about cartilage or is it about the credit score? Which one is it? Anyway, we'll see you guys next week, 4:30 standard, 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we look forward to seeing you guys again. Thanks for all of your chiming in and comments today. Shout out to Sean Minkins from back in Maryland, Morning Star. Shout out to Pastor Jason for tuning in. And as usual, all of the ladies, Dion, all of you all that comment. And first, and Prophet Bruce, we're going to call Bruce with the Prophet. Prophet Bruce, thank you, sir, for tuning in on that. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you very much.
Yep.
All righty. Let's see.
The doors of the Love Church are now.
All right.
We gotta go.
Yes, we got to go. All right. I'm not going to say nothing bad. All right. Listen, again, disclaimer, just really quick. We're not saying that there are tons of people across the world that are married to people 10 years younger than them, 20 years younger, 25, heck, 30 something. And so to each its own. If it works for you, it works for the world. Right. We're just giving our opinion as two men with no dog in the fight. We're just saying, for us men, we're just trying to go back and look at the reasonings for our decisions as men that are older. Like, why do we make these choices and have we thought them through? Because the goal is this. At the end of it, at the stages at your life that you want to coast out your life and live a healthy life, you want to choose a person that can help you live it, not detract from you living it. So you got to think about it. Does that relationship breed life or does it breed stress? Think about it. Anything that breeds stress to a third or fourth quarter person's life, you don't want it in it. You don't want anything else to boost up what's already inevitable. So you want to choose wisely. And listen, Adam, as hard as it may be to some people, tight isn't always right. Okay.
Oh my God.
Right. So listen, call a spade, Adam. Sometimes men choose younger women because the perception of everything being tightly wound, everything. That's why. So the point of the matter is, listen, to each his own, even in that category. You lived your life, your wife or your other person your age have lived their life. So accept the course of life where it is for you. And it doesn't mean sometimes we put ourselves in rooms and places we don't belong. Stay within your lane and you'll be fine. All right. All right. Till next time, shall see you guys. All right.
Peace, y'all.